At first I thought it was just her way of feeling clean. My wife Chloe had always been gentle like that. Gentle in her movements, gentle in her voice, gentle in the way she set things down carefully, as if she might shatter upon hearing harsh words. We'd been married for 5 months, and every evening followed the same rhythm. She ate, laughed softly, tapped a bit on her phone, then went to take her second bath of the day. Even on days she hadn't gone out, even on days when we didn't touch, even when I begged her, she emerged from the bath smelling like a woman straight out of a perfume ad. Skin damp, towel neatly wrapped, a scent of hibiscus and vanilla trailing behind her. She slipped into bed, always with her back to me, said, "Good night, baby," and fell asleep before I could reach her. I told myself not to rush her, that she might need time. The truth was, I was afraid of ruining what we had. My name is Liam, I'm 31. I design kitchens for a living. Not rich, but I know how to make a woman feel safe. That's all I've ever wanted. Someone to come home to. Someone who wouldn't make me feel like I was too much or not enough. When Chloe came into my life, I thought I'd finally found it. We met in a furniture showroom in Chicago. She was looking for a new reading chair, and I was fixing a broken drawer. Her first words to me were, "Why are you sweating like that?" I replied that it was the price of honest work. She laughed. In that moment, I knew I wanted to be near her laugh for a long time. She made love easy. She loved old Hollywood movies, chili with too much spice, and sleeping in socks. Even when a power outage plunged the city into darkness, her smile carried an inner peace. But it was her silence that marked me the most. Not an angry silence, but the kind that makes you wonder what she's thinking. I started noticing her second bath from the second week we were together. At first, it didn't bother me. A woman has her habits, right? Some snore, others talk in their sleep. If hers was to wash again before bed, well, fine. But little by little, I got the feeling she was washing away something more than sweat, more than stress, something she didn't want to leave near me. She never said no to me, but she never really said yes either. Just soft smiles, light caresses, and a silence wrapped in hibiscus scent. Then one night I heard something as she came out of the bathroom. Wet hair, towel neatly in place. Something fell. Not loudly, just enough to make me turn my head. It rolled under the bed. She bent down quickly and picked it up too fast, like someone who didn't want to explain. And in that fleeting moment I saw it. A small dark pearl, not her jewelry. Something older, more raw, something that didn't belong in our bedroom. The pearl was black, tiny, dull. The kind of thing you find sewn into the lining of old family clothes or tied with red thread and hidden under pillows in country homes. It didn't look like something Chloe would wear, not with her silk bonnets, her perfume, and her Instagram scarves, but she snatched it up abruptly, like she was hiding something. And just like that, she acted as if nothing had happened. She slipped into bed beside me, said her usual "good night, baby," and turned toward the wall as if the day held no weight. I said nothing. My back was stiff against the mattress, but my mind had already left the room. That night, I decided to stop pretending. I'd smiled too much, shrugged too much. This time, I had to see for myself what was really happening in that bathroom. So the next evening, I waited. I acted normal. We ate rice and stew for dinner. Then we watched a show on TV. I asked her how her day at work had been, and as usual, she gave a bland answer. "Work's fine, just a bit stressful." The air between us was sharp but thin, like a sheet hung on a clothesline without a breeze. Then around 10:30 p.m. she stood up. "I'm going to take a quick shower," she said, as if it were the most ordinary thing. I nodded. "Okay." She grabbed her towel, her sponge, her phone. That phone was always in her hand, even to go to the bathroom. The door closed softly behind her. I counted 20 seconds, then got up. I moved slowly, no slippers, on tiptoe, like someone who didn't want their own truth to hear them coming. The hallway light was off, but a faint glow under the bathroom door spilled onto the tiles. That's when I heard it. A soft sound at first, like wordless humming. Then it deepened, stretched like a breath. Then it came again, clearer this time. She wasn't praying. It wasn't singing. It was nothing I'd ever heard my wife do. I crept closer. Not too close, just enough to see the light from her phone flickering on the tiles, through the narrow gap under the door. Then I heard something else. Wet, rhythmic sounds, almost mechanical. And then her voice, not full words, just breaths and muffled little sounds that seemed neither sad, nor scared, nor religious. My heart stopped beating normally. I leaned against the wall, not from exhaustion, but because my legs suddenly didn't trust the floor. My eyes burned, not with tears, but with that facial tension when something is happening right in front of you and your body can't do anything to stop it. Then the sound changed, a low, quick gasp, and just as fast, silence, stillness. The shower turned on, not loudly, just the usual rush of hot water. I backed away before she could open the door and see me. I returned to bed like a thief in my own home. I lay down, pulled the covers over me, eyes open, mind boiling. A few minutes later, she came out. Damp skin, towel still on. That scent again, hibiscus and vanilla. She entered the bedroom peacefully, as if her body hadn't done something that didn't include me. As if she didn't know I was breathing confusion. She slipped into bed beside me, murmured, "Good night, baby," and turned away. Me, I stared at the ceiling. I wanted to talk, to ask, even to shift a little so she'd know I wasn't asleep. But something held me back. Shame, fear, ego. I wasn't sure. I didn't sleep for a long time, but I didn't cry either. I just lay there, feeling like a stranger in my own marriage. And as I was still mulling over what I'd just heard, something else entered the room. Softly. It was Maya. Maya, my niece, had been living with us for a while. She had this habit of not always knocking. That night I was too overwhelmed to yell at her. Maybe she'd come to use the bathroom since we shared it. I didn't know, but she stopped at the door, and after a moment I heard her go into the bathroom. In a way, my mind wasn't at peace. I had to know what my wife was hiding from me. I was still lost in my thoughts when an idea came to me. The idea arrived like a whisper in my head, small, unexpected, but firm. Talk to Jake. Not because I thought he had perfect advice, far from it. Jake was the kind of friend who could call you at 2 a.m. to talk about football and somehow tie it to marriage problems. But there was something in his way of thinking that always cut through the noise. No frills, no long sentences, just straight talk. So the next morning, after Chloe left for work and Maya for school, I sat alone at the dining table, staring at my half-eaten bread and lukewarm tea. Then I grabbed my car keys and went straight to his place. Jake lived in that kind of bachelor apartment where nothing ever changed. Same brown cushion, same fan with a missing blade, same faint smell of soup and old sweat. He opened the door, one eye closed, toothpick in his mouth, wearing boxers that had seen too many washes. "Man, you here this early, what's up?" he asked, scratching his belly. I didn't speak, just walked in and sat down. He recognized the look on my face. "It's Chloe," I nodded. "What did she do this time?" I didn't answer right away. I stared at the floor as if it would help me find the right words. Then I told him everything. The second bath, the pearl, the sounds I heard through the door, what I suspected was an adult video on her phone. Maya entering the room that night like a ghost. When I finished, Jake whistled and stood up slowly, like someone who just realized they were carrying a heavier burden than expected. "Man, this is beyond my pay grade," he said, heading to the fridge to pull out 2 cans of beer. He handed me one. "Drink first, you need it." I took the can but didn't open it. He sat across from me. "Seriously now, listen, I'll be straight. What you saw, it's not nothing. It messes with your head. I get it, but women, man, they carry secrets deeper than subway tunnels. It's when you marry them that you start wondering if it's the same person you flirted with in a store." I let out a weak laugh. He leaned forward. "Let me ask you something. Before the wedding, you guys did things, I mean, you touched her, right?" I looked at him, then looked away. He nodded. "See, that's where the problem starts. If you didn't have regularity before marriage, once married, you start discovering the real person. Sometimes it's not what you expected, and if you're not careful, you'll end up eating frustration." I sighed. "But it's not just that, Jake, it's the way she acts. She doesn't flinch, she doesn't argue, she doesn't explain. It's like I'm sleeping next to a closed door." He scratched his jaw. "You sure she's just taking a bath?" I replied, "I heard her, Jake. I know what I heard." Wet sounds. Her voice. She was watching something. I saw the light from her phone. He raised his eyebrows and shook his head slowly. "You sure it's not just, a manual thing?" I frowned. "What do you mean, man?" "She washes like it's a ritual. She clings to her body like she wants to scrub something away, and then she uses her phone in there. Doesn't that feel off to you? I'm not saying call a priest for deliverance, but your situation ain't clear." I wanted to brush it off, but the thought had already lodged in my chest. He leaned back and spoke more slowly. Listen, man, sex isn't proof of love. Marriage isn't a guarantee someone will open up completely. Sometimes it's after the ring that you see the real picture, and it takes a strong mind to carry it. I stared at my unopened beer. He continued, "This thing, it could be a private addiction, trauma, something spiritual, or maybe she doesn't even know you've noticed. But what you're gonna do now is the most important part." "What should I do?" I asked softly. Jake didn't answer right away. He took his toothpick, chewed it a bit, then looked me straight in the eyes. "You're gonna have to talk to her, but not like you're accusing. Watch her. Give her more space. Women tell stories with their bodies before their mouths. But if after all that she keeps playing you like a fool, then you'll need serious help. Not a friend, not a priest. Serious help. You get me?" I nodded slowly. "Maya, too. That girl watches," Jake added, pointing. "Little girl. Big eyes. If she hasn't noticed anything, then Chloe's hidden it well." I glanced at the clock. I had to leave soon. Jake followed me to the car. Before I got in, he said something unexpected. "Listen to me. You can love someone and feel alone with them. Don't let that drive you crazy. Keep your head clear. Whatever you do, don't beg for what should come naturally, especially not in a marriage." I drove home slowly. Those words weighed on my shoulders the whole way back. When I arrived, it was almost 6 p.m. Miss Chloe's car was already in the driveway. I entered quietly. The living room was calm. Her slippers were by the rug. Then I heard laughter. Not one, but 2 voices from the kitchen. One was Chloe's, the other masculine. Not just any masculine voice, a soft, almost silky one. And I froze in the hallway hearing him say, No, just taste this one, you'll like it." And the voice replied, "You trying to poison me?" That voice didn't belong to any neighbor, and it clearly didn't sound like someone passing by. It was only hearing that voice in the kitchen that I remembered Maya was supposed to be home. The hallway stayed silent, but my ears were on alert. I didn't even move from where I stood by the shoe rack. I listened. Chloe laughed again. That soft laugh she usually reserved for calls with her friends. The masculine voice chuckled too, not loudly, just enough for me to know it was conspiratorial. What troubled me most wasn't that there was another man in my kitchen. It was the way their voices sounded relaxed, familiar, at ease, like it. Wasn't the first time like this house, this space that was mine, had adapted to another energy. I turned around and slipped out quietly, not toward the kitchen, not to confront, but straight to the back door. I needed air, not the kind you breathe deeply, but the kind that reminds you you're still real, that you're still breathing. I sat on the concrete base of the air conditioner, my hands gripping the cold cement, and as I tried to balance my thoughts, the back door creaked. It was Maya. She said nothing, just looked at me briefly, like someone who wasn't sure if they should speak or not. Then she turned and went back inside. That was the first night I noticed something. Maya had been living with us for about a year. She's 17, and yeah, she's the quiet type, the kind of girl you almost forget is in the house. She did her chores, went to school, helped in the kitchen, and avoided adult conversations. She barely spoke to me, except to greet or ask if I needed help serving food. But from that day on, I started watching her, and strangely, I felt like she was watching us too. 2 nights later, around 9:45 p.m., I was lying on the bed scrolling. My phone when Chloe grabbed her towel and phone and left the room as usual. This time I didn't follow her. I just listened. 5 minutes passed, then 10. I checked the time. I got up and walked out slowly, pretending to turn off the living room light. That's when Maya came out of her room. She had her arms crossed, holding her nightgown like she wasn't expecting to see anyone. Our eyes met. She blinked, lowered her head quickly, and passed me. But what I saw made me stop. She wasn't wearing her slippers. She wasn't going to the toilet. She was heading straight for the bathroom, the same bathroom where Chloe was. And then I remembered something. That bathroom had no lock. We'd planned to fix it, but never did. I stood there, uncertain. Maya reached the door and, as if rehearsed, cracked it open slightly. Light spilled out. I heard Chloe's voice, low, like she was speaking hurriedly. Damn, I didn't catch what she said. Then Maya pulled back quickly. Her hand touched the knob again like she wanted to open it wider, but she stopped. She turned, saw me there, and her body stiffened. She adjusted her gown. "Good evening, Uncle Liam," she said, barely avoiding my gaze. I nodded slowly. "You okay?" She nodded quickly. "Yes, sir. I thought the bathroom was free." I said nothing. She turned and went back to her room. I stood there a moment, unsure what had just happened. Then I returned to the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed. This time I didn't lie down. I waited. When Chloe finally came out 20 minutes later, she looked fresh, her skin glowing as if she'd immersed herself in hibiscus and peace. She didn't talk much, just rubbed lotion on her legs, tied her scarf and slipped under the covers like someone who'd accomplished something. I watched her, but my thoughts weren't just on her anymore. They were on Maya, because the next morning as I passed the bathroom, I saw something I couldn't ignore. 2 wet footprints on the bath mat. Not one, 2. One small, one large, like 2 people had showered or stood under the water. And now I wasn't just facing secrets. I was starting to suspect a connection I couldn't explain. Maya started acting more alert, too. She'd enter rooms and look around like she was searching for something or listening for sounds. She didn't ask questions, but her silence seemed louder. 3 days later, she left a piece of paper on my nightstand. It was folded, no name on it, just 3 words. "Check her phone." I sat on the bed, staring at the piece of paper Maya had left on my nightstand like it had hands and could speak. "Check her phone." 3 little words, but they carried the weight of an open war. I didn't touch it again. I left it where it was and stood up slowly, trying to calm the heat rising in me. I knew the moment was approaching. That limit, that patient tension I'd managed since the second bath, the moans, the pearl, since Maya had cracked open that bathroom door, it had reached its end. Chloe was brushing her hair in front of the mirror, using that wide-tooth comb she always complained was old, but refused to throw away. She was humming something soft, maybe a gospel song, maybe not. She didn't even notice the way I was looking at her. I walked to the side of the bed and opened my drawer like I was looking for a pen. My heart was beating too fast, but my mouth stayed silent. She turned slightly. "Is there a problem?" I didn't answer right away. Then I said it. "Why do you always wash twice?" She blinked. The comb stopped halfway through her hair. She looked at me fully now, her hand still in the air like she wasn't sure if I was joking or serious. "What?" I took a step toward her. "Every night, Chloe, you leave this room with a towel and your phone. You stay in that bathroom longer than it takes to cook rice, and when you come out, you say nothing. You get into bed like it's nothing." She scoffed, looked away briefly, then back at me, her voice more tense now. "So, you're monitoring my bath routine?" "I'm not monitoring anything. I'm just asking, what exactly are you doing in there?" Her eyes narrowed. "Liam, do you hear yourself? You're counting how many times I wash now. Is this what we've come to in this marriage?" "Don't twist things, Chloe. I heard you. I saw the light from your phone. I saw your towel drop. I saw wet footprints, and don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about." She turned fully now, setting the comb on the dresser. "You saw footprints? So what? It's my house too. I can wash 10 times if I want, and take my phone while I do it." Her eyes widened for a second, then her voice dropped low and sharp. "You touched my phone?" I stepped back. "No, but I should have. Maybe I should have done it a long time ago instead of pretending not to see what's right in front of me." She brushed past me, opened the closet, pulled out a robe and tied it tightly around her waist like she was shielding herself from more than the cold. Then she turned, arms crossed. "So that's it. Now you're watching me like a thief. You think that's love? You think tracking me like this, making me feel like a prisoner in my own home, that's marriage?" I said nothing, just grabbed my pillow. She laughed once, a dry laugh laced with pain. "Oh, now you want to sleep in the guest room? That's your answer." When things get uncomfortable, you pack up and run, like always. But let me tell you, Liam, you're not ready for the truth. You want answers, but you're scared of what they might be. I didn't respond. My hand was already on the doorknob. She sat back on the bed and picked up her scarf like someone who'd finished with the fight. I left the bedroom that night. I slept in the guest room, or rather, lay there, eyes open, the ceiling staring back like it was waiting to hear more. I didn't hear Chloe leave the bedroom, but I knew she was awake. The bed creaked around 1 a.m. I heard a discreet sniffle, like someone trying to stifle tears, but no sobs, just the intermittent sound of breathing followed by silence. And somewhere, in the hallway, Maya's door shifted, but I didn't hear her come out. She didn't speak either, but I knew she'd heard everything. The next morning I woke to the sound of the blender in the kitchen. Not just the usual blender noise, it was different, more intense, like someone was trying to drown something out. Maybe guilt, maybe shame, who knows. But as I sat up to check my phone, I saw a new message. It wasn't signed, just a number. 3 words again, but this time not from Maya. She's not alone. The message stared back at me as the blender stopped. She's not alone. I sat there a moment without blinking, without scrolling, just holding the phone like I was afraid it would vibrate again and shake something loose inside me. I didn't know who sent it, and I wasn't even sure I wanted to. My stomach was already knotting, a twist starting from the small of my back and spreading to my chest like hot oil. Just then there was a soft knock at the door. It was subtle, delicate. Uncle Liam. The voice that followed was so faint I almost thought I'd imagined it. It was Maya. She didn't knock again. She just waited. I got up. I cracked the door open slightly and saw her there, in an oversized t-shirt and leggings, one hand on her chest, the other clutching her phone like she was hiding it from the world. Her eyes didn't meet mine at first. She was looking past me into the guest room, like she was checking if it was safe. "I can come back later," she said, already stepping back. "No, it's fine. Come in." She entered slowly, not like someone walking into a room, but like someone approaching a wound. She perched on the edge of the chair by the window and tucked her hands between her thighs. Then finally she looked up. "I'm sorry, Uncle Liam, I should have spoken up sooner." I didn't press her, didn't say anything. I just sat on the edge of the bed and waited. The air between us was heavy. She swallowed hard, her lips pressing like she was organizing her words before letting them out. "Anyway, I've seen her. Not once, not twice." She paused. It started softly. At first I thought it was normal. Everyone likes a little privacy sometimes. But then the nights got longer. I'd hear sounds. What kind of sounds? She blinked, and I could see the heat rising to her cheeks. Her voice dropped lower. Sounds of pleasure. Moans. Almost every night. Sometimes she takes her phone into the bathroom. I noticed because of the light and the reflection on my window. I didn't move. My hands were clasped. My mind wasn't in the room anymore. It was replaying every night I'd ignored the tension. Every evening she laughed too hard. Every bath that made no sense. Maya continued. 2 weeks ago I was going to the kitchen. I passed the hallway and heard something again. It wasn't loud, but it was clear. I stayed to make sure. I don't know what she was watching, but I heard the kind of things you hear in adult movies. I rubbed my jaw slowly, like if I rubbed hard enough, the pain would go away. I couldn't look at her anymore, not now. I turned to the wall and rested my eyes there for a moment. "So that's it now," I said softly. After all that, she stood from the chair and approached me. Then she sat on the other end of the bed. Not too close, but not distant either. "I didn't tell you before because I wasn't sure how you'd react. I didn't want to cause trouble. But last night I heard you both. I heard her yell and I heard you leave the room." I turned to her. "Do you think there's someone else?" She paused. "I don't know. But whatever she's doing, she's not doing it for you." The words hit differently. No insult, no mockery, no judgment. Just a cold truth like water from a leaky roof that ends up soaking the mattress. I stood up and started pacing, back and forth like my body was moving for all the questions in my head. Why, when did it start? What did I miss? Where was I when my wife became a stranger, under the same roof? I turned to Maya again. But why? What did I do wrong? What's missing? I'm her husband. I cook sometimes. I clean, I provide, I try to talk even when she pushes me away. So why? Maya looked at me. This time her voice was firmer. Sometimes it's not about you, Uncle. People carry things without names. Shame, guilt, addiction, secrets they don't even understand themselves. But if you want my opinion, she's hiding something deeper than what you've seen. I was about to say something else when her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then her eyes met mine. "I think you should see this." She showed me the screen. It was a screenshot from Chloe's phone, a message thread, and at the top a contact saved as him. Below, the most recent message dated 2 days ago. Don't forget to delete the video after watching it. I don't trust him anymore. My mouth went dry. Who is him? I asked. Maya hesitated. I think he meant me. The moment Maya said, I think he meant me, I didn't know where to plant my feet anymore. My legs were still on the floor, but it didn't feel solid. Everything in that room suddenly seemed changed, like the air was different, like my ears were hearing too much at once. The name saved as him was still on the screen, frozen like it was mocking me in silence. I wanted to laugh, cry, and smash something all at once, but I just handed her back the phone without touching it too much, like my own fingerprints would stain the madness I'd just seen. I didn't even ask Maya more questions, so I didn't want to. I needed to hear it from my wife, from Chloe. Not through intermediaries, not through screenshots, not through my niece who seemed to carry secrets too big for her age. I left the guest room immediately and went straight to the master bedroom. The door wasn't locked, but she was there, sitting on the edge of the bed, her scarf still tied, her robe still on, but her face looked like it hadn't rested since yesterday. Her eyes met mine when I entered, and for the first time in a long time she didn't look away. I closed the door softly, then stood there watching her, waiting. I didn't ask questions. I said nothing. I just leaned against the wall, arms crossed, head slightly tilted like I was waiting for an answer to a question I hadn't even voiced. And she knew. Her mouth opened, then closed. Then she took a deep breath and exhaled like she was releasing something she'd carried too long. It started at boarding school, she said. Keep going. I'm listening, I replied curtly. I was in 9th grade. My roommate would sometimes borrow her sister's phone when the matron was asleep. Then one night she told me she had something to show me. I thought it was music or a movie, but it wasn't. It was an adult film. She fell silent. Her eyes were still on me, but her fingers twisted in her lap like they were trying to wring out the shame. At first, it scared me. I didn't even understand what I was watching. But the next day, I caught myself thinking about it, and the following week, when her sister came back, I asked to see it again. I told myself it was nothing, maybe just teenage curiosity. But before I knew it, it became a habit. Her voice dropped to barely more than a whisper, like she didn't want the air to carry her words too far. From watching, I started masturbating. I'd sneak into the bathroom. I'd stay a long time doing it. It gave me a kind of release. I didn't know what to call it back then, but I just knew it made me feel alive. She stood and walked to the window, parting the curtains slightly, even though the sun was already full in the sky. I thought I'd stop after high school, but I continued in college and now in marriage. I didn't move from where I stood, not because I couldn't, but because I didn't know how. She turned to me. Her eyes were shiny now, but the tears hadn't fallen yet. I thought getting married would fix everything, that loving someone, being loved, would be enough. But the truth is, I never really stopped. I swallowed silently, still no words from me at that moment. All I could do was listen. She leaned against the dresser, still looking at me. Sometimes I wait for you to sleep. Sometimes I pretend to wash twice in the night. Sometimes I just need to feel something, anything. I hate myself for it. I pray, I cry, I delete, I reinstall, I break down, then I start over. She wiped her eyes now, but not fully, just a small gesture. I'm not proud. I feel deep shame. I know I'm supposed to be better. I know I'm not the woman you married. I don't know how to stop. Then her voice cracked slightly. I don't want to lose you. That's when my body finally moved. Something in me collapsed. I sat slowly on the chair she'd left by the dresser, not looking at her, not yet thinking of words. My mind pushed and pulled. Part of me was angry, a burning anger that creeps up the back of your neck and tightens your jaw. Another part of me, I don't even know what to call it. Confusion maybe, or exhaustion, not from lack of love, but from not understanding the person I thought I knew. She came closer, knelt in front of me. I haven't cheated. I swear I haven't slept with anyone. I know that doesn't make it better, but I need you to know that. My eyes finally left the floor and met hers. And the pain I saw there, it wasn't fake. It wasn't a performance. It was the kind of grief that doesn't know how to speak in full sentences. I want to fight this, she said, her voice trembling now. I want to try therapy, counseling, anything, but I don't want to pretend anymore. I put my hand on my head, rubbing it slowly, then leaned forward, elbows on knees. I wasn't angry anymore, or maybe I was, but it had softened into something else. I didn't respond with a motivational phrase or quick forgiveness. I just sat there staring at my feet. The door creaked. We both turned. It was Maya. She looked at us, me, then Chloe. "I didn't mean to interrupt," she said, "but there's someone at the gate." "Who?" I asked. She hesitated. "He says he's looking for Chloe." I stood immediately. Chloe recoiled. "He gave his name." Chloe's legs started to tremble. Maya's mouth opened, then closed. Then finally she said, "The man at the gate said to tell her it was him." When Maya said, "The man at the gate said to tell her it was him," I didn't even wait for another word. I brushed past her without thinking. No slippers, nothing in my head but that name. That damn name that had been gnawing at me like salt in a wound since yesterday. I didn't go out right away. I stopped by the dining room first and peeked through the curtain. There was a man by the gate, but he wasn't facing the house. He was looking down the street like he was pretending to admire the sky, like someone who knew his presence was already a problem and was trying to act like he had some sense. I didn't even go out to meet him. I just called the watchman and told him, "Tell that man to leave." He sounded confused. "Sir, but he..." "Tell him to leave. If he doesn't move in 5 minutes, I'll make him leave myself." I didn't wait to hear his arguments. I turned and went back upstairs. When I got to the bedroom, Chloe was sitting on the floor like someone who'd just been told their house was being demolished and didn't even know what to grab first. I said nothing to her. She said nothing to me. I just grabbed my phone, slipped on my sandals and left the house again. I'd even forgotten I had a car. Funny. I didn't even know where I was going. It was Jake who called, like he knew I needed air. "Man, where are you? Come meet me at the atrium, please. You need to calm down." When I arrived, he was already seated, a beer in front of him, his eyes scanning me like a nurse waiting for blood pressure results. I sat down. He said nothing for a moment. He just poured me a glass and nodded slowly. "I see it on your face. I know the problem wears heels and walked into your house." I didn't even respond. I just drank. After a while, he said, "You don't have to talk if you don't want to, but don't do something you'll regret." I looked at him and smiled faintly. Too late, regret's already in the house. He stayed quiet and then that woman walked in. She wasn't dramatic. She didn't have all those fake lashes and plastic nails so many wear these days. She was just there. Beautiful, yes, but a normal beauty. Her beauty was dangerous because it didn't shout. It whispered, a subtle beauty. Slim build, simple black dress, no earrings, just a small chain around her neck. I noticed because as she passed, she smiled at me. That's all, just a smile. But Jake saw it. He always notices those things. His mouth twisted. "She wants you, I'm telling you, she wants you." I looked again. She was seated 2 tables away, but her eyes were checking me, trying not to be too obvious. Jake sipped his glass, leaned back. "Brother, I know you're thinking it's a chance for a little revenge, but let me tell you the truth. Temptation doesn't come with horns. It wears perfume." I laughed lightly, but I didn't respond. I already knew what I was thinking. It wasn't about the woman. It was about me, about everything bubbling inside since yesterday. She finally stood, went to the counter, came back, then stopped at my table. Just stopped. "Hi," she said softly, like she didn't want to disturb me. I looked up, smiled. "Hi. You waiting for someone?" Before I could answer, Jake jumped in. "Yes, he's married. Thanks." She smiled and raised her hands playfully. "No offense, just asking." Then she went back to her seat. I looked at him, shaking my head. "You never let people breathe." He leaned closer, voice low. "You want to breathe? Go home and breathe with your wife." I said nothing more, but something in me was already pulling toward a dark place. I knew it. Part of me wanted to follow that woman's car. Not from attraction, but from escape, from a bruised ego, because I wanted to feel desired again, because I wanted to stop thinking, but I didn't. I finished my glass and left. When I got home, everything was quiet. The living room lights were off, but a faint yellow glow in the hallway told me someone was still awake. I stepped through the door, locked it softly, and stood there a moment, just in the silence, just me, the house, and all the memories climbing the walls. I didn't go to the bedroom, not yet. I went to the kitchen instead. I made tea, warmed some rice. I don't even know why. I wasn't hungry. I was just trying to do something that reminded me I was still alive. Then I heard her voice. I waited. It came from the hallway, calm, soft, empty. I turned. She stood by the stairs, robe tied high, face washed, lips dry. But she looked at me like she was waiting for an answer, like my arrival was the start of a decision she wasn't sure she was ready to face. I didn't respond. I just went upstairs. But as I climbed, my mind wasn't thinking like a man anymore. It was thinking like a husband. A tired, hurt husband, but a husband nonetheless. I knew now that it wasn't a battle I could win with pride, that it wasn't about who was most wounded. Because if I crossed that line, if I touched another woman now, the whole moral ground I stood on would crumble. I entered the bedroom, set my phone down, and collapsed on the bed, still dressed. I closed my eyes, and just as I started to drift off, my phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. You think she's told you everything? The moment I saw that message, something cold sliced through my chest like a breeze from an open freezer. I stared at it a moment, then read it again, like the words might change if I looked long enough. Do you think she's told you everything? No name, no greeting, no follow-up, just that. I set the phone beside me and lay there a while, but my mind wouldn't rest. Sleep was already a stranger. I got up, went to the window, parted the curtain, and looked out like I'd see the sender walking down the street. But the road was quiet, not even a dog barking. In the morning, I didn't mention it to Chloe, not because I didn't want to, but because I honestly didn't know what more I could take. I was already carrying too much in my chest. More questions wouldn't help. That same morning, Jake sent me a number. Call this woman, he said. She helped my cousin and his wife when they were about to split. She's really good. At first, I didn't even think about it. I ignored the text. But around 2:13, when I found myself scrolling through old photos of Chloe, trying to compare her smiles, looking for signs I'd missed, I knew I was going crazy. That's when I called the number. Her name was Angela. Her voice was calm, like a teacher who's seen too many students fail, but still believes they can succeed. Do you want to come together or start with individual sessions? She asked. I told her we'd come together, but honestly I wasn't sure. That evening, after dinner, I sat next to Chloe in the living room. The TV was on, but no one was really watching. I turned to her and said it softly, like something fragile. I want us to try therapy. She turned slowly, like she wasn't sure she'd heard right. Therapy. Yes. She didn't respond. She just looked at me, then back at the screen. The silence hung in the air. After about 10 minutes, she said, "Is it because of me or because of us?" "Both." She nodded slowly, then shrugged. "Okay, I'm willing." That was it. Truthfully, I wasn't expecting any argument. We started the following Monday. The office was downtown, a discreet complex, no sign. Angela opened the door herself, wore simple clothes, no makeup, just someone who seemed normal. She didn't talk much. She asked small questions and waited for you to fill the space. At first, we were both tense. I watched her mouth, she watched her nails. We answered like exam candidates. "How do you feel in your marriage right now?" "Fine, it's hard." "Do you feel safe with each other?" Silence. But something started to shift after the third session. It was like we'd exhausted the lies and started using real words. Chloe spoke first, like someone dusting off a shelf with a small cloth, one corner at a time. She talked about the shame, the fear, how in her head I'd become too perfect, how it made her feel like her past would always be a stain I wouldn't let dry. And I listened, really. Not the kind where you wait for your turn to speak. I listened like someone who'd finally admitted they didn't know everything. I spoke too, about the feeling of betrayal, how everything she hid made me doubt what was real, how hard it was to trust again, how hard it was not to compare. We didn't fix everything in a day, but it started to feel like a team rowing again. Not perfectly, but at least in the same direction. Fun fact, Maya started sitting closer at dinner, asking questions, laughing again. Sometimes I'd catch Her watching us and smiling to herself, like someone who'd seen war and now believed peace was still possible. One Friday night, the power went out. The electric company was slow to restore service. Chloe sat next to me on the couch and used a magazine to fan us both. She didn't say anything profound, just talked about mango season, how she'd climb trees as a child, how she'd fallen once and her father scolded her for wasting fruit. She laughed, a real laugh that bent her body. I hadn't realized how much I'd missed that sound until it returned. After a while, she stood, stretched, and said, "I think I'll take another bath." I glanced at the clock. It was almost midnight. The old me might have felt something, suspicion, alert, ready to start counting again. But this time I just stood and followed her. She stopped and smiled faintly. "You want to wash too?" I nodded. "Make room for me." We didn't talk much in the bathroom. We didn't need to. It was a romantic moment that started with a kiss under the shower. For the first time in a long time, it didn't feel like acting. It felt like healing, real healing. And it made me realize something. Every woman has a past. Every man has to grow up. Shame, silence, and secrets break more homes than infidelity ever will. But healing is possible, not through perfection, but through patience, communication, and a love that listens.